Today would have been Nile's 72nd birthday. And when he passed away this past November 19th, 2021, everyone was going, when are you going to do a memorial service? When are you going to do a memorial service? Well, when the hell's the right time to do a memorial service? And I thought about it and I went, he loves surfing, he loves swimming, he loves snorkeling. It has to be done at the beach. So when would I do it at the beach? His birthday, July 23rd, 2022. That's when you do it. So thank you all for gathering. If you'd like to come up and say something, the mic is going to be open for you. All right? We'll take about 15 minutes. And with us today is Anthony. He is going to do the paddle out with his friend Eleanor with Nile's Ashes.
We all know him mainly as Nile, but he's always Jeff to me. I was his little sister, 7 years younger than him. So just a lot of lifetime memories. As a little girl, him playing with me and swinging me around or swinging me between his legs because he was so tall. And he taught me a lot about music and fashion. And then as teenagers, he would let my friends and I go stay with him in Laurel Canyon, which was a blast. And for my high school prom, my best friend didn't have a date, so he stepped up and was her date for the prom, which was really, really wonderful. She would have liked to be here today too. When I was pregnant with my first daughter, my husband was living in Mexico, still in college, so Jeff stood in for him and went to my Lamaze classes with me and even put a ring on his finger so I wouldn't be embarrassed. And just a lot of loving memories of my brother and of our family growing up in a very loving, close-knit family, six of us. I miss him. I didn't get to see him very much the last years, but we were in touch over Messenger and Facebook, and I miss him and I'd have him with me.
Love vision. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled from the peaks of the mountains, the long, winding road crossing forests and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean because only then will the fear disappear, because that's where the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. And then this is one that Steve chose. It's called Perspective.
I would figure that one out.
Figure that one out, right?
Yeah.
I am standing on the seashore. A ship spreads her sails to the morning breeze and starts for the ocean. I stand watching her until she fades on the horizon, and someone at my side says, she is gone. Gone where? The loss of sight is in me, not in her. Just at the moment when someone says she is gone, there are others who are watching her coming. Other voices take up the glad shout. Here she comes. And that is dying.
So I love Nile dearly. All of us did. Amazing man. And I just want to say, in the Buddhist tradition, we look upon the passing or death as like being on the ocean. When we are extant, when we are alive, we are a wave. And then when we pass from this existence, we go back into the ocean. So we're not gone, we're dormant for a period before we come back. And I know he'll come back and you'll probably all see him again. Probably as your mother, your brother, something.
Stylist.
But yeah. But like on some of those notes that were read earlier, so many adventures, and Ron and I were talking yesterday about it didn't matter where he was. He would come back with the full history of the person that was in the checkout line at the convenience store. And not only were they fabulous people and very creative, but they were worth a fortune.
Wealthy people.
So, but not all were that way. But and so
were.
Nile was this magnet that would bring people into our
Group. All the time.
our environment, and they were, some were mafia people from back east.
Forgot about
Some
that.
were lovely people. I think I'm one of those. And he was just able to pull out the essence of anybody he was with, and you automatically trusted him. And of course he's a big old Leo.
Yeah.
So once he loved you, that's it. Unless you did him wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And few were brave enough to do him wrong because he would just boom. So one other quick story, and I was not in the car when this happened, but Nile, they were going down Beverly, near the country club thing.
Yeah.
And this idiot had been weaving in and out of all the cars. Everybody was pissed. Stopped at a light. Nile gets out of the car, pulls the guy through the window of his car out, picks him up, takes him over to the side of the road, and sets him down. Everybody honked and applauded. They got in their car and went on. So it was always nice that he had your back. Being the person I am, I need somebody to have my back. And he was ever vigilant and always knew what was going on in the room. It's like, did you see that guy looking at you? It's like, no, where? Well, he's gone now. Which is the story of my life. But anyway, a sweeter man I've never known.
Mic drop. Many of you here know, of course. Okay, just the thought of Nile brings a smile to my face. Truly one of the funniest and sweetest guys one could ever hope to meet. I vividly remember meeting a dashing young Nile in the fall of '86, very shortly after I moved to Los Angeles and began my career at Disney. We met at a business dinner with Joan Hoberman and Jerry Heslov at the Old Morton's restaurant at Melrose and Robertson, long gone and now the site of a retail store. Nile was working for Davell Limousine and Jerry was his boss. I was happily dragged along by Joan to one of my first industry dinners at a see-and-be-seen Hollywood eatery. After dinner, we adjourned to the famous Polo Lounge at the Beverly Hills Hotel where Ron joined us. That was the beginning of a long and meaningful friendship. There are far too many escapades and adventures to recount, but they included memorable trips to Playa del Carmen, before it was popular, San Francisco, numerous zany weekends at my getaway in Palm Springs, where I now reside, often ending the day laying in the backyard grass looking at the stars, listening to George Michael songs, wafting across the pool, and of course the infamous poker nights with a regular gang of friends. There were also countless nights at Ron and Niles on Olympic where we would watch television, dine on Ron's delicious cooking, play games, do crossword and jigsaw puzzles, or just hang out having cocktails and musing on life in the little urban oasis of their backyard. Many of these times are memorialized in pictures, the old school pre-smartphone kind. Nile and Ron both watched me stumble through relationships, meeting several of my partners, starting with Bob, Matt, George, and Greg from New York, and even my stint with Felipe from the Village People. I'm sure
I have the Indian in my house
Yeah,
regularly.
right. I'm sure I provided a great source of conversation and entertainment. Nile was the quintessential Southern Californian. He was a beach guy, a surfer, lived in Laurel Canyon, loved to dance, and could regale you with stories about growing up in the valley, enjoying all that Southern California had to offer in the 60s and 70s. Nile was an optimist and looked at life very simply, a true gift for those of us who tend to overthink, overachieve, and overcomplicate things. He was a true breath of fresh air, and I always felt calmer in his presence. Niall was a great salesman that truly believed in his offerings, plus who could resist his boyish charm. Niall had an infectious laugh, and I'm sure many of us remember that he gave the best hugs, often lifting me off the floor in the process. I trust all of you have had your special moments and encounters with Niall. I'll hold my own memories as long as my mind will allow. Sadly, just as we were entering the third act of our lives, the tall blonde gentleman left us all too soon.
No, but I just think about the first day I met Niall. I was riding my bike on Fairfax, right? And
Yeah.
you guys stopped at Beverly and Fairfax and go, "That's my friend Carrie."
Yeah. That's
Now,
how it started.
what year was that? Like 1985?
1855.
1855? No, but you all know, Niall had such a beautiful disposition. You know, like any of us, our life was never easy, you know, and Niall, remember, on different job changes, you know, he always just would assert himself and he would find that next job. And that sort of gave me a outlook about Niall, going, you know what, he has it. He's just going to keep going and he's going to make it. And we would spend in the early days, Christmas with you guys,
Right.
because they would always have the prettiest Christmas tree. Niall and Ron would decorate it with, like, I don't know, 1,000,002 lights, right? You would walk in with sunglasses. It was so bright.
Niall took 2 weeks to hand wire all of the lights on the tree. 2 full weeks.
2 weeks to do that.
Yeah.
And and you picked Philip to be your doctor. You know, and that was, thank you, and it made my house bigger.
That extra income helps as a doctor. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great to see Kevin King.
And
Oh my
Joe Harrison.
God. Ronnie. And I just wanted to say thank you for all the years with Niall. Remember all the barbecues and the pig, you know, you would smoke the pig.
And smoked turkey.
Smoked turkey. I thought it was pig. It was turkey. It tasted like a pig.
It always tastes like chicken.
Didn't it? No, and you always had the most beautiful garden, and you loved the garden, and it was so sweet, and we used to love to come over, and I haven't seen you for a while,
I know.
on purpose.
You look like shit.
Yeah, right, thank you. But I'll always love you, and always love Niall.
When I moved next door to you,
Right, yeah.
and I'm still there. But it was inevitable that Nile and I become friends. We shared a lot in common. We both had the love of the garden and watching it grow, telling us how it will grow. When my trellis broke and broke all of my cacti in half, I said, "Oh, let's see how they're going to grow out from this." Beautifully. And we would have been friends a lot longer ago if I was his age or he were mine, because we both grew up in the valley. He was Chatsworth, Tarzana for me. And we both rode horses, went into the canyons, and all that kind of stuff. So there was all that familiarness between the two of us. Even with many years in our age difference, it really didn't matter because Ron was always older. A lot of bit. But I miss him.
At the time, Jeff in Santa Monica Beach, along with Kim Powell and Mike Nyers. We were Craig Wirtz. We were from Melcotos, Culver City High School. So meeting these guys from the valley, we thought they were really cute.
And they were so nice.
And they were so
it was
nice.
so refreshing.
And then we would go to the Carolina Pines on Friday nights on Ventura Boulevard. And there would be all kinds of people from high school, and that was a big thrill for us. And anyway, I miss him dearly. I saw him after that, and it's a shock. He was one of us, and now he's not here, and it's just unbelievable.
Thank you, Sue.
I was a debutante, and I got to invite Nile as my escort. And I'm telling you, every female in that place went after him. He came dressed in tails and a top hat. He looked like a movie star. He looked so handsome, and he's such a sweetheart. And then we used to take him to Lake Arrowhead on vacation with our whole family. And that was always really fun. His birthday was close to my birthday, so we celebrated birthdays together. And then we went to a couple movies together. And there just couldn't have been a nicer man ever. Just a sweetheart, and yes, he will be missed forever.
Thank you so much.
I'm Susan Rayburn. Ron still calls me Sue from when we were in like high school. I went to junior high with Nile when he was still Jeff, and knew Shelley, and knew Mojo and Vinny, and so anyway, we were dear friends for many years, and I hadn't seen him because I moved to the Bay Area in '72. And don't come down here that often, but I was very happy I got to see Nile and Ron 2019 because I was at a conference at UCLA, so I came over, and I'm so glad that I got to see him in person, and Mike Nyers, who I knew since junior high and hadn't seen him. But anyway, so when Ron called me and told me about now being ill, I wrote this letter. So it's a little bit maybe personal for those of you I don't know, but I thought I'd read it anyway. One part of it is that one of Nile's best friends growing up in Mike's was my cousin Kim Powell. So we all grew up together. And Kim passed away from his unfortunate cocaine addiction back in 1985. So I make a reference to him in this letter. Anyway, let me just read it, and apologies if it's not relevant for some of you for some of it, okay? So this was from October 26th, last year. My dearest Nile, Ron let me know that you are ill and facing a tough road ahead. Not clear how long the road will be. It sounds like writing this is a better way to communicate right now than trying to call you, so here I go. Thought I'd better type a proper letter since I can barely read my own handwriting at times, which my husband would back me up on since he points that out to me regularly. We've been friends for practically my whole life. You were always such a great dancer. We used to dance. Not to mention fellow style hound. So true. I remember all the early Encino Community Center, Teen Center, Harmony Park Ballroom, fabulous dancing periods. The Let's Hear It For Us period. Not to mention our summer psychedelic period. I won't go into any more detail about that. Maybe those were the same period. And I said, and then you and Ron being the handsomest men at my wedding at our mutual friend Betty's house in 1991. And I said, okay, up there with my tall husband, Bill. You were also Kim's best friend for many years, which gave me someone special to grieve with, in addition to my brother Bruce when Kim died. And that was less complicated than grieving with Aunt Dolores or Uncle Wally, Kim's parents. I loved being around your mom, Mojo, and your dad, Vince. I still have that great pair of vintage earrings that you lifted from your mom and gave to me. Who knows if she ever missed them?
No,
I was telling Shelley about them. I also, too bad I didn't wear those. I also remember hanging around with your bro, Scott, and I'm thinking of him right now, too. Sorry that I never got to know your sister, Barkley and Ibiza, or Shelley that well, because Shelley was a little kid. Needless to say, I love you very much and always have. I'm so grateful that I got to hang out with you, Ron, and Mike Nyers in person when I was back at UCLA in 2019. If your treatment would allow a phone or Zoom call going forward, I'd like to do that, let me know. I let our closest to you loved ones know that you're ill. My brother Bruce, Betty Ross, who's here, and another friend, Betty McKenzie, and of course Bill. They all send you their heartfelt love and support. I will also imagine that whatever universe Kim may be floating around in these days, he would definitely be sending you his deepest love and affection. With much love.
As Carrie said, we've known Ron and Nile for many years. I moved here from South Africa, and Ron and Nile were really two of our first friends for me and Carrie as a couple. And we used to spend a lot of time with them in those early days. And my memories of Nile are just of this really beautiful human being, this kind, gentle, and generous soul, and so giving of his spirit. It was always a treat to be with Nile. It was so calming and pleasant, and I'll always remember him for that. And I miss him, even though I didn't see him very often.
Susie's a vocalist, and she's going to sing "You Are the Wind Beneath My Wings" as Anthony and Eleanor take the ashes out, okay?
To never have sunlight on your face, you were content to let me shine, and that's your way. You always walk the step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I wish I could be. I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings.
Like lemon drops high above the chimney top, that's where